What's going on, YouTube? Bacon here bringing another video. This one going to be my Week 4 battle for the SSBL Minors. Sorry again for a little bit delay uploading these videos. I'll catch up when I can. There's just been a lot of stuff going on between like actual real life stuff that I need to get done, like wedding planning, and a bunch of draft league stuff going on right now. I have somehow finagled my way into being in 4 draft leagues simultaneously. VPL was supposed to be over, obviously it's not. Pace and Finn still have not played their semifinals match because they're huge johners. But we'll see who ends up winning that game, and of course we'll get prepped for them for the finals match. But I would expect that video to be more than a week out at this point for sure. And you guys you'll see that once that game gets played. OLT is still ongoing. Playoffs have started. You guys haven't seen my Week 8 match yet for the regular season, but playoffs have started, and I'll get those videos uploaded as well to my channel for the remainder of that season. And then, of course, SSBL here. We're right in the thick of it here in Week 4. We've actually already played our Week 5 games. It's currently Week 6 in real life SSBL, but like I mentioned, I'm a little bit behind on uploads. So trying to catch up here a little bit in the coming weeks, but definitely been very busy lately. So there's that. MWPA is starting back up with MWPA Season 7. You guys saw us play in Season 6. I did upload that to my channel. I will also be uploading Season 7 to my channel, so expect a draft recap soon. We have already finished the draft, but Week 1 games have not been played yet, so I'll get draft recap going for you guys probably sometime late next week, and then get my Week 1 battle finished and play that and get that uploaded for you guys as well. And I'll be uploading that weekly. And lastly, ABC is starting back up as well. ABC Season 2, we had a pretty successful Season 1. Of course, coming out with the championship, going undefeated. Unfortunately, I will not be uploading for ABC Season 2. I think it's just too much for me to upload. Like, between finishing off VPL, OLT, and of course SSBL, and then uploading more for MWPA, it's just not realistic for me to think that I'm going to be able to upload for ABC. So unfortunately, you guys will not see those games, but I am participating this season as well. We brought back a good number of our coaches. I believe we have 7 returning coaches from last season and 5 new ones, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited for that season to start up, but again, you won't be seeing that on my channel, unfortunately. Just a heads up for everything I'm into right now. So like I said, a lot of draft league going on, and I guess not lastly, because lastly, the Draft Premier League is about to start up here. The player auction is on Sunday. And for those of you who don't know, the Draft Premier League is basically like the Smogon Premier League, except instead of Smogon tiers, it's Draft League. So they're drafting players to play Ultra Sun and Moon, as well as ORAS, and you can sign up for one or both, or either, whatever. But this is like a very top tier kind of draft league to get into. Anybody can apply, like anybody can sign up to be part of the player pool. The way it works is there are 10 teams, each with 2 captains, and the 2 captains will draft players out of the, they'll nominate and draft players out of the pool. Each team has available, I believe, $120,000 or something like that to their budget to draft 7 to 9 players, and it's an auction style system, so basically whoever's willing to spend the most on a player is going to be the one that's able to draft them, and there are some very, very talented players in this league. Basically, kind of like the best of the best have signed up for this. Names like Gypsy King, PokeAim, like everybody from Hive, or most of the people from Hive, LD, kind of big name leagues around, APA, MWPA, OLT, IPL, like all these really top tier leagues. Basically, everybody is here. So there's, I believe, over 250 entrants at this point, if I'm not mistaken, and only at max 90 are getting drafted. At min, 70 are getting drafted. So our odds of getting drafted aren't amazing, I'll say, but I did try out in one of the servers. They had like a kind of brief tournament going on in most of the team servers to just basically get a good idea of how people play the game, basically, because there's obviously a lot of people who signed up that nobody really knows who they are, probably like me, and then there's players like Gypsy King, who everybody knows who Gypsy King is, and people are going to want to draft him, of course. But tryouts were kind of a good opportunity for lesser known players like myself to get our name out there so that we can play the game to some extent, and hopefully get drafted that way. I did only participate in one league's tryout servers, because like playing in all those tryout servers would have been way too much for me, so I just signed up for one, decided to give a little bit of my time to that while I was playing my other draft leagues simultaneously, and I did pretty well in my tryouts, I think, so hopefully, you know, that'll be enough to get me noticed. If it's not, you know, maybe there's always next year. But hopefully that was enough to get us noticed and drafted to a team. Again, it's going to be very, very competitive to land a slot on a team, and it's totally up to who the captains want to nominate to draft. So, yeah, hopefully I did well enough to get my name out there. But otherwise, yeah, that's it for my draft league recap right now. Sorry for using the beginning of this video as a kind of brief channel update, honestly. So you guys may see DPL uploads if I manage to get drafted. If not, I don't get drafted, you know, it is what it is, but hopefully I do, and yeah, let's get right back to the SSBL Minors game that we are on right here now with. So, like I mentioned, week 4 here, we're going up against the Rootin Tootin Rowlets, coached by Chants. Chants actually replaced Tristan, who had some IRL stuff going on, so he had to play us with Tristan's old team, so he didn't get to make any changes because of just kind of the timing of everything. But Chance did just come in to replace this team. It's obviously sitting at 1-2 coming into the week, and we are sitting at 3-0, looking to stay strong here at the beginning of the season. So let's get right into the matchup here. So looking at Chance's team, he's got the Mega Lopunny, of course, you see on your screen. Landorus Incarnate form, that can be Sheer Force. Scizor, Latios, Snorlax, Sylveon, Slowbro. That's a lot of S's. Umbreon, Stunfisk, Pinsir, and Camerupt. His Z users are the Latios, Stunfisk, Pinsir, and Camerupt. So, couple things. Lopunny is always kind of a big threat to deal with, but I do have an Uxie on my team to help a little bit with that. Lando Eye is also a big threat, but I do have some good ground immunities on my team, so he can't just spam Earthquake versus me. I am expecting him to be carrying HP Ice to hit my Gliscor, so that's something I'm definitely going to have to watch out for over the course of the match. Otherwise, I feel like I had a pretty good matchup in this game. Like, I have good switch-ins for Scizor, I have good switch-ins for Latios. I do need to watch out for him running like Earthquake on Latios, for example, to hit my Alolan Muck and my Mega Mawile. I do have some pretty good switch-ins for Latios. Slowbro is something of a problem for me as a defensive pivot, but otherwise, I think I can handle it pretty well, and my Mega Mawile has an excellent matchup in this game. So, with that in mind, let's get into my team builder here. So like I said, the first thing I noticed was that Mega Mawile is excellent in this game. At +2, Sucker Punch plus Play Rough just cleans his entire team. Obviously I have to watch out for things on his team running like Substitute or anything like that, status moves that could potentially hit me. But with Stealth Rocks up at +2, Play Rough does 2 at KO, or at +2 at OHKO's the Slowbro. So with Rocks up, guaranteed OHKO on that thing, because I am running Adamant Max Attack. So we're running SD, Sucker Punch, Play Rough, and Fire Fang. Fire Fang is just an option there for me to kill the Scizor from full, and obviously I don't have to worry about playing like Sucker Punch, Bullet Punch type mind games with it. I can just Fire Fang and blow that thing away. Even unboosted, I will be knocking out Scizor as long as he's not Akaberry. Intimidate is just kind of a nice pre-mega ability here, because he doesn't have an Intimidator of his own, so I didn't feel like I needed Hyper Cutter. And Intimidate's actually really nice for me to cycle on things like Pinsir, Mega Lopunny, Scizor, just kind of ease my switch-ins to those things over the course of the match before I've Mega Evolved. Mawile's a really great lead option in this instance, because if he leads with the wrong thing, I can just click Play Rough, and at the very least I'll be getting like some nice Intimidate off on something like Mega Lopunny or what have you. So Mega Mawile, huge threat in this game. If I can get up a +2, game's more or less over, as long as I'm making the right predictions with Sucker Punch versus Play Rough. But yeah, that's a Mawile set. Just really great on paper in this game. Next up here is Eats Tide Pods, the Rotom Wash. Running Choice Scarf once again on my Rotom Wash with Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Discharge, and Trick. Running Max Special Attack, Timid Nature, but I am running a decent bit of bulk just because I don't think I really had to creep much on his team. I believe I was creeping down to like Adamant Pinsir or something like that. I really didn't feel like it was necessary to full-on creep the Pinsir, because if he's running Scarf Pinsir, that's really not a huge threat to my team. SD is a little bit more scary for sure, but I felt like I could get away with running a little bit of extra bulk on my Rotom Wash. That allows me to kind of switch into the Landorus Incarnate if I'm predicting him to go for Stealth Rock, HP Ice, Earth Power, whatever. I can get in my Rotom Wash on that potentially and start to just fire off some Hydro Pumps versus team. His best switch into Hydro Pump is probably the Slowbro, if I'm being honest. Like, what else is really taking it? Maybe Snorlax, rather, could take a Hydro Pump. So being able to trick those things, Sylveon, like being able to trick any of those things is really nice for me, and I don't super need my Choice Scarf in this game, but it is nice to be able to guaranteed outspeed the Lando and the Lopunny. I do need to watch out for a potential Z variant of Latios, so Volt Switch is kind of the preferred play to bait in the Latios and get in something like my Muck or one of my other Mons, potentially my Mega Mawile to start clicking Play Rough. I think Scarf Rotom Wash is just really good in this game. Being able to click Hydro Pump against things like Lando, force it out, click Hydro Pump against Lopunny, force it out, just really, really nice, and Discharge is there to potentially hit like a switch into his Latios and get a free para off. If he's like, oh, I resisted Stool Stab, bringing the Latios, Discharge para on that thing would be really nice for my Mega Mawile. So, yeah, that's the Rotom Wash set here. I felt like the speed control was really nice from the Choice Scarf this week. Next up here is Friend of Dave, the Alolan Muck, running Black Sludge Poison Touch with knockoff Poison Jab, Pursuit, and Shadow Sneak, running max HP, max special defense, Careful Nature. This is kind of my best switch into the Latios. Like I mentioned, I do need to watch out for him running Earthquake or Z Earthquake or something like that on his Latios. I may need to scout for that during the course of the match. But at the very least, on a free switch, I can bring this in, just go for Pursuit, potentially KO the Latios if it's chipped already, or, again, also fire off some poisons on his team. So I get Poison Touch, Poison Jab, of course, has the 51% chance to poison. Being able to spread that status is really nice for things like a potential Umbreon switch in, if you happen to bring that, potential Snorlax, knocking off a Berry from that could be good as well. Even if he brings in the Landorus hard on me, knocking off its Life Orb is good, getting a Poison on it's good, like... Muck is just kind of a big problem for his team to deal with. He doesn't really have a whole lot that's going to OHKO it from full. I believe I even live a Life Orb Earth Power as long as he's not running a damage boosting Landorus Incarnate. So it just gives you a good idea of how specially bulky this Muck is. Able to take some hits from his team and deal some good damage back. Shadow Sneak is just good to pick off weakened threats like the Latios, the Landorus potentially later in the game. And then, like I mentioned, Pursuit is there specifically to trap the Latios here. Next up, to come into her first game of the season, is Grace, the starter EEVEE, running Assault Vest with Anticipation. Since I'm not running any normal type moves, I didn't really feel like I needed adaptability. And we've got Sappy Seed, Sizzly Slide, Glitzy Glow, and Freezy Frost. What wonderful names for moves. Basically, Sappy Seed is a 100% accurate Leech Seed move that does 90 base power damage. It's a physically offensive move, and it's a grass type move, of course. So 100% accurate Leech Seed is super nice, and the ability to essentially use Leech Seed with an Assault Vest is also really nice. It's a great special check to things like the Lando and the Latios on his team. I can actually take, I believe, 2 Specs Dracos. I can take 2 Life Orb Earth Powers. So I can take the special hits that I need to on his team and potentially heal up with Sappy Seed. Sizzly Slide is there to spread some burn on his team, specifically against the Scizor. It also denies him from being able to freely switch into his Mega Lopunny on me, because he obviously has to fear getting burned by me. So I feel like this thing's just really good in this match in general, because it can sit on some of his fatter mons. Glitzy Glow allows me to set up Light Screen for free with a 90 base power Psychic type move, which will obviously hit the Lopunny super effective upon switch in, and also set up the Light Screen to help ease my switch-ins to things like the Lando and the Latios. And the last thing there is a Freezy Frost. This prevents him from running Calm Mind Latios, Calm Mind Slowbro, Curse, Snorlax, all that kind of stuff I beat 1v1 with my EEVEE. Just with the combination of all the moves that I've got, because it is Haze type move. It's not like, I don't know if Clear Smog actually removes boosts if you don't break a substitute. I don't know about Clear Smog on that one, but Haze does, and this is essentially an Ice type move plus Haze. So EEVEE, I think, has a really good matchup here. This is essentially what I drafted it for is for teams with a lot of slow, kind of fat mons. I could potentially beat them 1v1 with Leech Seed, Burn, setting up screens, and preventing them from setting up with Haze. So yeah, I'm really excited to use this Pokemon. Like I said, I think it has a good matchup in this one, and you guys will see what it's able to do during this match. Next up here is Giant Brain, the Uxie, the token Mega Lopunny check on the team, running max HP, max Fizdef, pretty much, with Rocky Helmet, Stealth Rock, Psychic, Memento, and U-Turn. Psychic obviously hits the Lopunny for good damage. If I can Memento on something, it could potentially give me the opportunity to get my SD up with my Mawile, especially if I've already scattered out that he doesn't have like Substitute on his Lando and his Latios, stuff like that. U-Turn is just good initiative for his team. He's probably going to switch out if Lopunny's in front of me, for example, so I can get some slow U-Turn momentum off and probably threaten something with Mega Mawile for the most part, or if it's one of his fatter mods, I could potentially start doing my thing with my EEVEE. But yeah, Uxie's just a really nice kind of team glue piece in this game. Was essential, I think, to have a switch into the Mega Lopunny this game, so kind of had to bring the Uxie here, but I think it fits really well on the team, and Stealth Rock Chip is going to be really helpful. As I mentioned, at +2, I do KO everything with my Mega Mawile if Stealth Rocks are up, so that's the Uxie set for this game. Pretty standard set there from the Uxie. Last up, we've got Nightshade the Gliscor, running Toxic Orb, Poison Heal with Swords Dance, Rock Polish, Earthquake, and Facade. Running pretty close to max HP. I've got enough HP and defense investment to live an Adamant Ice Punch from a Mega Lopunny, so that was something to note there. Kind of the main point of the Gliscor here is to also couple in with the Memento support that my Uxie gives me. While Memento can get me a free Swords Dance with my Mawile, it can also get me the first half of my Swords Dance Rock Polish on my Gliscor. If I can get +2/+2 with Rocks up, Gliscor is just as much of a threat to his team as the Mawile is in this one. So not super essential, I'll say, in this match, but it's definitely a potential late game win con that I've got in the back. And it's also not kind of like setup bait because it does do some really good damage running Adamant with Facade and Earthquake. Can really put in some good damage on his team. Kind of the main stop to this, I guess, would be the Slowbro. I don't 2-hit KO Slowbro, or I don't Oko Slowbro with a +2 Swords Dance Earthquake. But if I get +4 somehow, I could potentially KO it that way. Again, Memento's a decent way to help me out with that. Again, he's got a lot of fat on his team, so if some of the faster mons are gone, double SD on Gliscor could work out a little bit better for me to start breaking through his team. I just felt like I had a pretty good matchup here, and I didn't really know what else to put on the team for a 6th mon, so I felt like Gliscor fit pretty well this week. Alright, and after that kind of lengthy channel update plus intro, we're ready for the battle here. As you can see, he brought the Mega Lopunny, the Pinsir, Scizor, Slowbro, Latios, and Lando I. So pretty much what I was expected. Unfortunately, we do see the Pinsir. That thing actually has a pretty decent matchup versus me in general, I'm not gonna lie. But otherwise, it's pretty much what I expected to see here. At lead here, my best option is just to lead with Mawile. If he leads with Lando I can just go out into my EEVEE or something like that, but I really don't think he'd lead Lando I versus me, especially because Rotom Wash is such a good lead. I felt like he would lead with potentially Latios or something like that I could threaten out. And at the very least, I'll get an Intimidate off on one of his physical attackers on the left there. So I feel like Mawile overall was the best lead. If it gets threatened out, so be it, but it threatens out most of his team, besides like the Slowbro and the Landorus. So that's what we're going to do here is just click Mega Mawile to start off and potentially start clicking buttons here as my opponent does lead with the Pinsir. So standard no bulk Pinsir dies to play rough. So I'm going to make the call. We see Mold Breaker, by the way, on the Pinsir, which is good to note. It means it's definitely got Earthquake to hit my Rotom Wash and my Mawile plus Muck. But anyways, we do see Mold Breaker on the Pinsir, so he's not able to negate my Intimidate. And he's at -1. He's not doing a ton of damage to me. I could potentially Oko him with a Play Rough here. I'm expecting him to switch out into his Slowbro, potentially like a Rocky Helmet type of Slowbro here. So what I'm actually going to do is go out into my EEVEE turn 1, as my opponent just balls deep, stays in, and goes right for the SD. So very unfortunate play turn 1. I felt like it was the right play to switch out, calling the Slowbro to get my EEVEE in to just start clicking Sappy Seed. But unfortunately, he's got Swords Dance Pinsir, and he's just going in right now. So could have just clicked Play Rough there, potentially knocked out this Pinsir. Unfortunately, I did not, and now I'm actually kind of on the back foot to start this game, so I can't let my EEVEE go down here. I'm going to pivot out into my Gliscor, predicting him to go for a Bug-type move or a Fighting-type move, as he goes right for the X-Scissor. Gets a crit, but I don't think that really matters too much in the end here, so goes for X-Scissor there. I should be able to tank any hit that he wants to go for still at +1. So what I'm actually going to do here is just go right for the Facade, hopefully 2-hit KO this Pinsir, but it turns out he's running a little bit of bulk on it, so I think it ended up being a roll to KO with my Mawile from lead there, but that's why he decided to set up in the first place, I guess. But go for the Facade there, get some good damage off on this Pinsir. And this is, like I mentioned, actually one of the bigger threats to my team, so I'm perfectly content to trade my Gliscor for it here as I go for another Facade. Unfortunately, I do not pick up a 2-hit KO. I don't even know if I could have picked up a 2-hit KO there, but he does get the Aya Papa Berry back, so really wild Pinsir set here, but it's definitely working out for him in the early game here. Got me on the back foot and getting rid of my Gliscor, so Pinsir able to pick up the KO there, unfortunately. And now I've kind of got to go into my Rotom Wash to revenge kill this thing and just click Hydro Pump. If he goes into Latios, he goes into Latios, but I can't play around with a +3 Pinsir in my face, so I'm going to click Hydro Pump. Thankfully, we do land it and knock out the Pinsir, so big threat gone, but it did cost us our Gliscor to do so. Now he doesn't technically know that I'm Choice Scarf because Rotom Wash does naturally outspeed Pinsir, but his best switch in is probably the Latios here anyways on the free switch here, so I'm going to switch out and go into my starter EEVEE. Again, I can take 2 Specs Draco Meteors from this Latios. I believe I can also take a Calm Mind Z Draco if I'm not mistaken, so he goes for the substitute here, probably predicting my Alola Muck to come in. And goes for Psychic, just gets a little bit of chip damage off on my EEVEE, as I'm going to go for the Freezy Frost. Basically, I just can't let him start setting up Subcom Mind in my face if he's potentially that kind of a set, and Freezy Frost was the only thing I had that would break his substitute. So here as the Lopunny comes out and is unfortunately pre-mega'd. We did have to play in custom game because of my EEVEE. It's unfortunately pre-mega'd, so going to take a little bit of extra damage here, but I'm going to go for the Glitzy Glow, get some good damage off on the Lopunny, and get my light screen up. It's going to help ease my switch-ins to his Slowbro, Latios, and Landorus, and Uxie is here for the dedicated switch-in to the Lopunny. Go out into the Uxie. He's got the good tech with the Toxic there. Gets the Toxic off of my Uxie. No big deal. This thing's really only here to take some hits from the Lopunny to chip it down into range of things like my Sucker Punch on Mawile and Volt Switch Discharge kind of things on my Rotom Wash. So Uxie comes out here. He's got no reason to stay in when he's got a Scizor in the back, he's got Slowbro in the back, he's got a Latios in the back. He's got no reason to stay in and eat a Psychic here, so I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks. That chip's going to be really nice for his team, and like I mentioned, at +2, Mawile is just going to clean here, so with Stealth Rocks up. So getting Stealth Rocks up is really nice. Here, I don't know why I didn't U-turn. I just hard swapped out into my EEVEE, unfortunately. I have no idea why I didn't U-turn this turn, honestly. Like, U-turn would have been so much better for me because I could have U-turned out into Mawile here and just click player off. But unfortunately, I do just hard swap out into my Uxie here, into my EEVEE here rather, as the Lopunny comes out, and I gotta go right back out into my Uxie, take the high jump kick fairly well, and I can just click U-turn this time. Again, don't know why I didn't click it against the Slowbro, but such is life. The Lopunny is getting pretty chipped down. I believe after Rocks it's going to be in range of a neutral Sucker Punch, if I'm not mistaken. And since he stays into high jump kick again, he's definitely in range of one. So he goes for the high jump kick there. I U-turn out on his Lopunny, and this thing is basically non-existent. One more Rocky Helmet chip plus Rocks will KO the Lopunny, so that's basically what the Uxie sack is there for at this point anyways. And I'm just able to go out in my Rotom Wash here. If he wants to save his Lopunny, that's fine, but I'm going to click Hydro Pump here. I felt like he might need to make a play, and the play would be to go Landorus on a Volt Switch, but instead he goes into Landorus on a Hydro Pump. That thing gets blown away, and that is amazing for me, because now my EEVEE is a lot more freed up to just check the Latios and the Slowbro at this point, and my Muck is a lot more freed up, because it doesn't have to worry about Lando coming in and just clicking Earth Power on it. So great that I got rid of the Landorus there. I'm just going to go hard EEVEE on the Slowbro. There's really nothing it can do to me. He goes for Calm Mind. I don't care. He's not going to KO me at +1 with anything he's got. So I can pretty freely go for the Sappy Seed here, start to get some Leech Seed recovery up on this Slowbro, and then on the following turn I can either haze it or I can set up my light screen. So Sappy Seed's going to come off here, again get the Leech Seed, 100% accurate Leech Seed off on the Slowbro, and you can see that Scald is doing very little to me even at +1. Thankfully he does not get the burn there, which would really hinder my longevity, but able to get the Leech Seed up here, and I'm just going to go for Freezy Frost this turn, reset his stats, and basically 1v1 the Slowbro. He makes a good play, goes out into his Scizor, predicting that, and is only going to take minimal chip damage here. So I have a couple options. I could sack off my Uxie here to a potential U-turn. Actually, this looks like a really god tier play by me, because my EEVEE would have dropped to a Bullet Punch there. But realistically, I just didn't calc it, and I thought my EEVEE would live the Bullet Punch. So I stayed in to go for Sizzly Slide to KO the Scizor. It looks like I was just sitting there and like, oh, I've got good Steel Resist, he's not going to Bullet Punch, and I just Sizzly Slided, but in reality, I just got lucky there that he decided not to stay in and Bullet Punch there. And I'm able to get a burn off on the Slowbro, which is really nice to start whittling that thing down. And I'm just going to be able to freely go for Sappy Seed once again. Like I mentioned, the Slowbro really can't touch my EEVEE at all with my Assault Vest, and eventually I'm going to get my screen up here. I'm prioritizing Sappy Seed right now just because I need the HP. But I'm able to get the Sappy Seed off on the Slowbro as he goes for Scald. Again, doing very little to me, and again, thankfully not burning me. So he goes for the Scald there, and I'm just going to go for my my Light Screen here. Slowbro's starting to get chipped down, even with the Regenerator, it's starting to get a little bit low. That's good for my Mawile because it may mean that I don't even need to set up an SD. But get the Glitzy Glow off here, get my Light Screen back up, and as you can see, he goes for the recovery here. So I'm starting to get some HP back on my EV, and now it's no drawback for me to click Sappy Seed again. It's going to do some okay damage to the Slowbro. And there's like behind Light Screen and my AV, what's he doing back to me? So I'm just going to go for the Sappy Seed once again. It punishes any switch in that he could potentially make. He likes to go out into the Latios. I'm not going to take the Sappy Seed particularly well, if we're being honest, and my EV is getting pretty close to back to full health, so going to continue to do a little bit of an EV sit on his team here. The Light Screen plus Sappy Seed combination in this game was so good. As the Slowbro comes back out, I'm just going to Freezy Frost this turn. I had no reason to let him set up or do anything wonky, and Freezy Frost was going to do some decent damage to the Latios anyways. So Slowbro comes back out, again, free Sappy Seed for me, my Light Screen's up, my AV's intact. What's it going to do to me? So Sappy Seed's coming out here to start breaking down the Slowbro a little bit more, and potentially can get me out into something like my Rotom here as I go for the Leech Seed once again. I believe he goes for Calm Mind this turn. Yep, he went for Calm Mind this turn, and I can haze that, like, no problem. I can just freely haze the Slowbro, continue to get some Leech Seed recovery, and Eevee again, almost back at full health already, just sitting behind its screen and doing its thing. So Eevee's going to go for the Freezy Frost here. This Mon is stupid. This is a 5-point Mon, guys. I got this Mon for 5 points, and it's basically sat here and walled a 12 or 13 point Mon in Slowbro, and a 15 or 16 point Mon in Latios. It's just sitting on his team, and he can't risk like burns on his Scizor and his Lopunny and stuff, and because I'm attacking all the time, he can't get his Lopunny in either. So the Glitzy Glow comes out here, resets my Light Screen with Leech Seed intact. There's nothing, like, this Scald did 9%. Oh my god, this Mon is so good. So Eevee's sitting here doing its thing. He pretty much has to recover this turn based on how this has been played, because otherwise I'm just going to go for Sappy Seed on his switch in. So he's got to recover. This is a free switch into my Rotom Wash, and he has no electric immunities left, so I can pretty freely Volt Switch this turn. Even if he attacked me, it wouldn't have done anything through Light Screen there. So it was pretty free Rotom Wash there. I'm going to be able to get off a free Volt Switch here. He really doesn't have good switch-ins to Volt Switch at this point. He's just going to sack off his Mega Lopunny. And with the Mega Lopunny gone, he can't touch my Eevee. Like, because I'm back to full health, now I won't die to a Bullet Punch from the Scizor, and I am speed creeping the Scizor with my Eevee. And I should be able to knock it out with Sizzly Slide. So Eevee's just going to 1v1 the rest of his team. Like, I don't need to tell you guys that for you to see that it's about to happen. Scizor comes out here. I'm going to go right for the Sizzly Slide. If he attacks me, great, the Scizor's dead. If he doesn't attack me, Sizzly Sliding something on his team. So he goes for Bullet Punch there, gets some good chip damage off of my Eevee, but my Light Screen is still active for one more turn, and the Scizor is gone. So he's either going out into his Latios here, or he's going out into Slowbro, obviously. Slowbro, we've already seen how that 1v1 goes. Latios, we've seen how that 1v1 goes. Eevee just wins the game at this point, gets to sit in front of his team and cycle between Sappy Seed, Freezy Frost, Glitzy Glow, and just sit. So going for Sappy Seed first once again. Get the Leech Seed off on the Slowbro with my Light Screen intact. Psychic is really not going to do anything to me. No special defense drop, thankfully, this turn. And Eevee's just going to sit here. He can't Calm Mind in my face. I can reset his boosts. I'm going to reset my Light Screen this turn to start with, just because he's only got special attackers left on his side of the field, and he's just going to forfeit anyways at this point. Like, there's no reason to drag that out. He had no win con there. He had no way to break my Eevee once the Mega Lopunny, the Pinsir, and the Scizor were all gone. Yeah, sorry to Chance that he had to prep on kind of short notice with the team that he didn't draft. But GG nonetheless. He brought some cool stuff. The SD Iapapa Berry Pinsir was really cool. Cool prep on his end. But Eevee was just too good in this matchup. Like, I don't know. This game was 31 turns. I don't know how many of them Eevee was on the field for, but it was probably about half, if I had to guess. It just kind of sat there in front of the Slowbro and 1v1 that thing. This is why I drafted Eevee. It can wall special attackers with the combination of the Scream plus Sappy Seed and the ability to stop them from setting up, and it can sit on Fat Mons. If I'm running like the Fairy move that's Heal Bell, they can't Toxic me, or they can Toxic me, but like I'll Heal Bell it off essentially. and I can break them down with burn status plus leech seed. Just kind of sit on their teams in general, get up screens to help things set up. Like, this EEVEE put in work this game. I was very, very happy to see it actually do something. Like I said, this was the first game it came to. It's not good for every matchup. Like, some people have good physical wall breakers, some people have a lot of fast Pokemon. This was just kind of a good, perfect storm in that he had a lot of slow mons, and a lot of his faster mons for more especially offensive, bar the Mega Lopunny, which I had a great switch into in the Uxie. So EEVEE was just fantastic in this game. Really, really happy with how the team played out in this one. Basically the combination of EEVEE, Gliscor, Rotom Wash did the entirety of this game. Uxie to some extent as well, switching in on the Mega Lopunny, but Mawile and Muck didn't even have to do anything. Like, I was hyping up how good Mawile was in this matchup, but it didn't even have to do anything in this game because EEVEE just kind of took care of the job here. So GG again to Chance. Good luck going forward in the rest of the season. We are now sitting at 4-0. Looking pretty good for playoffs so far, but again, 10-week season. Definitely got to keep our foot on the gas here. Sorry for, again, kind of a long video with a combined channel update plus week 4 here. But thank you very much for watching to this point if you did. I hope to see you guys in another video later.